Okay, and here to talk about our upcoming concert on June 12th, Concerto for two pianos, and also to sort of catch up in general. So glad to be joined by Marina Lomazov and Joe Rackers, who are going to be featured in the Poulenc Concerto for two pianos on this program, which will also serve as a kickoff event to this year's Southeastern Piano Festival. And as many of our viewers know, they are the artistic directors of the festival and a great friend of mine and friend of the orchestra as well. So great to see you, both of you, and
It's
thank
great
you
to
for
see
spending some time with me today. So I guess the first question is, how could you, how are you? Where are you? Where are you right now? It's so hard to tell these days in these Zoom things. We could be.
us. Blank space.
What kind of green screen you're in front of or so.
Yeah,
So yeah, where are you now? What are you up to? And maybe tell us a little bit about what's coming up for this at this year's festival.
sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now we're in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at another festival at Louisiana State University. We're hard at work on SEPF as we have been for months. We're going to be in Columbia in a couple of days, and really looking forward to the kickoff of the festival. And special privilege for it to be able to start with the South Carolina Philharmonic concert. It's always such a treat to work with you and the whole group. So we're really looking forward to that opening concert on Sunday.
And it's great to be able to do it twice in one night at 6 p.m. and at 8 p.m. And of course, the musicians always want to do it again. And
That's right.
so
Yeah.
we'll actually do it again.
Yeah, and then as we have been doing all season long, well, first of all, the reason for the two performances is because of the reduced capacity
Sure.
at the Kohler Center for the safety protocols, and also we have been doing the live stream of the 8 o'clock, the second performance at eight
That's
o'clock,
right.
which has been which having such an interesting experience for me, for the musicians, as well, to be able to perform not only in front of the live audience, and we are, well, definitely in the minority of our peer orchestras around the country who have been able to perform in front of live audiences, all season long. There are many orchestras where that still hadn't been a possibility until very recently when the regulations changed. But not only in front of live audiences, but to be able to share it over the internet with our online audiences, and we've made some new friends and fans through that way. So I'm very excited to be able to share, to make music together again, and then to be able to share it online as well. So yeah, so this kind of worked out because initially we were going to do this piece. The Poulenc was going to be, I think it was supposed to be. We were initially planning for November
That's right.
Mhm.
of 2020. Before everything had to be changed because of the pandemic. So, little backstory. Jessica John, who is playing the Mendelssohn, the G minor piano concerto, to open this program, and
Hmm.
she won the Fraser competition back in 2019.
That's right.
So, she was scheduled to play. She was scheduled to play in October of
That's
2020.
right.
So she was going to be on the seasonal opener, and then for the second Masterworks in November, we were going to have you play the Poulenc, and we had some back and forth. We were deciding. There was a streamed program that we recorded, but without any audience in November, and so we were thinking, do you want to maybe do that, or I thought, well, if we are starting the season later, we could go right up to the piano festival essentially,
And it
and
worked
sort
out
of have
so
a
well. Yeah.
extravaganza type of events
I
with
know, and we're
you know
so grateful, and it's such a thrill to play with South Carolina Philharmonic, and of course, work with you again. And we were just reminiscing that the last time we did this concerto, just the last two movements,
right.
was almost 10 years ago.
Yeah. And that was
Yeah.
for a special anniversary for the festival, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the 10th year.
Yep, the 10th year, and it still stands out in our memory because of all
Such
of
a good
the
event.
multiple piano things we were able to do, and Philharmonic played great. And of
Yeah.
course, we're looking forward to hearing Jessica play.
Right.
She really stood out in the 2019
19,
competition. She's already had so much success as a young artist, winning the MTNA national competition and a number of others, and already with a lot of experience on the stage. So I know it's going to be a treat to hear two concerti in one evening.
Yeah, and you let's see. I started as the music director in South Carolina in 2008. My first official duty, actually, as a music director, was being on the jury of the piano festival that summer.
That's
and
right.
so that was sort of the first, my first. After being appointed as a music director, was the first musical activity. Really, was in June, like late June or so of 2008. And so, back then, I think we kind of, now we found I think both of you hopefully will agree, we found a good formula. I think
Good
in the
group.
past, in the
Yes.
past, we've had, for instance, like we had the 3 top prize winners each play a movement of a concerto, but sort of in the immediately the following season, which kind of made it, from this planning standpoint, it makes it a little bit tricky, because
Much
essentially,
Yeah.
I think that first year, because that first summer, I think we had somebody play the first movement of the Brahms second,
That's right.
and the first movement of Beethoven fourth, and the first movement of Saint-Saëns second.
Yes.
Which is that movement is not that long, but the other two are mammoth, pieces.
Right. And essentially, your program's already planned
Right.
from the spring before, so you're inserting something of unknown length into
Right.
already pre-planned program.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Right. So we kind of, so we went back and forth a little bit, and now we do this thing where, we have sort of 1 year, in some cases like a year and a half between when they win the first prize at the Fraser International Competition and when they return, and then they play an entire concerto, and they essentially return like a year and a half later, essentially as a guest artist. And that way we can I can plan the entire season kind of, it kind of fits organically within our season planning.
And then
as
also,
well.
in some cases, they play a different concerto from the
Sometimes.
ones we won with.
Right.
Yeah.
But then they also, I think the big thing for us is that, for me, personally, was being able to find an outlet for these, astoundingly talented young musicians, young pianists, an opportunity to play an entire concerto. Because so often in these kind of young artist competition situations, you might play in a movement, usually a first movement or the, one of the fast movements of a 3-movement typical concerto. But I thought it would give them enough time to be able to work up a whole piece.
That's
and also,
right. Yeah, it's such a grown-up experience for them. You're right that at this stage, usually they end up playing one movement of a concerto with orchestra, and to be able to play with, orchestra of your standing, of such, professionalism and beautiful ensemble of musicians, and play on the Masterwork series and play a complete concerto. It's a really professional experience for them, and they really look forward to it, and they give it all.
Yeah, it's a really good formula. And looking back over the history of the festival, really the partnership with the Philharmonic and with the Symphony League is one of the things that helped put the festival on the map, because this opportunity to play with the orchestra, and really especially now that it's a complete concerto with all of the time to plan and learn and everything, going back a number of years, the applications really started pouring in. So it's really the very best young artists in the country applying, and that's a big part of the reason that they do. And so we've always been very appreciative and grateful for that partnership.
And it's such the festival. I mean, first of all, I always tell my colleagues and friends, around the country. Of course, the name is still Southeastern Piano Festival, but it is really national in scope. I think one year, didn't you have a student from Australia one time? I think
Australia, Russia,
yeah.
Canada, of course.
Applications from India, from China.
China, South Africa.
Yeah. So how does that usually work? Because also what's unique about this festival and competition to me is that you have a strict cap on the number of participants, and so if you wouldn't mind sharing with us a little bit about that screening process. How many applications do you typically get? What's the process for kind of choosing? Is it 20 is the max usually or so? I believe.
Yeah, and it's a really, really large number of applications, and it's a rigorous screening process that's on the basis of recordings and scoring of recordings by a several member jury. And so in that way, it's really like auditioning for a college or university or any number of other piano competitions. So the screening jury listens to the recordings, and that's how we determine the 20.
And it's such for these 20 pianists, I would imagine that it's a week-long experience filled not only with musical memories and just learning so much from you, from the resident faculty from the University of South Carolina, but the amazing guest artists and guest faculty you have, and maybe you could talk a little bit about who you have coming in for this year's festival. But it's also kind of learning from each other and kind of creating friendships and fellowship with one another. And I always thought that is such a beautiful thing to observe. My involvement is more strictly related to the competition itself, which is always on the Friday of the festival. But of course, you've been spending time with them, working with them for the whole week, and just to see that kind of the sense of community. And I'm sure there are certain like rivalries and these things. I mean, it's part of our world sometimes, but to do it in a healthy way and in a and I think it's also a mark of a great festival when you, after a few years, I've seen several students who come back. They return maybe 2 years, 3 years, and to be able to see the growth in their musicianship and their the growth as a pianist is also really gratifying to see, for me personally as well. So yeah, if you could, who do you have coming in for this year's festival?
Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about the guest artists, and maybe Joe will talk about the kids' experience.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So we're really excited about the lineup this year. Richard Good. Actually, most of the guest artists this year were slated to be in 2020.
Right.
And of course, when everything was canceled, they were very gracious and we extended their invitation to the 2021. So Richard Good was supposed to come in 2020 and play for the 250th anniversary of Beethoven's birth. But it didn't happen. And so he's coming now and he's presenting a beautiful and very rich and varied program of piano masterpieces. Avadajan Pratt, who is in the faculty at Cincinnati and artist in residence there. He was a winner of Naumburg and recipient of the Avery Fisher Korea Grant. Marvelous, beautiful pianist with very unique voice. Is doing a very interesting program, a mixture of some contemporary works like Philip Glass and the monumental Liszt Sonata in the second half. And very vibrant and thrilling Natasha Paremsky has a very unique energy of her own, is doing a program of, I believe, Chopin works, and I think she's doing Prokofiev's Eighth Sonata, which is a really, really big piece too. And you mentioned the festival participants, the way they come back year after year and you see their growth. Well, we have a few alumni of the festival who are now guest artists of the festival. It's been almost 20 years and they've grown to be a really beautiful musicians. And those are actually these guest artists, Susan Zhang and Leo Sversky, were repeat participants of the festival. They would come back year after year and they finally reached the top of the Arthur Fraser ladder. And they went on to music careers. Leah became a beautiful composer, and Susan Zhang and Nick Luby are doing famously well with the concert truck. And so we're featuring them both this year.
That's right. And also another alumni, Evry Galliano, who's currently studying at the Curtis Institute and won the National Chopin competition recently in Miami. And she's going to be headed to the Warsaw Chopin competition. Oh, wow. So she's playing our alumni concert. So yeah, it's going to be a really exciting week. And the students at the festival can expect a week of immersion in music. That's why they come. They're already playing at a high level and they want to improve their level even more. And it's an opportunity for them to have lessons every single day, which isn't something that always happens. And of course, to practice a lot, but I think equally importantly, to be able to hear these guest artist concerts. The students will be front and center in the audience at each concert, and spending so much time together, even in a socially distanced way. We find that the students end up forming friendships. Now that we've been doing this for 19 years, we've seen a number of friendships that have spanned 19 years and no doubt will span a lot longer. So it's always a meaningful week for us, and especially to watch how the students grow during the week.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the major cultural events in Colombia all year long is the Southeastern Piano Festival. So I would invite everybody to check out the website for the festival to see what's coming up each night, and check out is the competition also going to be live stream as well on Friday? Okay.
Yes.
In fact, all the concerts are live streamed, just like the Philharmonic concert at 8 o'clock is live stream, and I believe the live stream is $15. And it is the same for us. All the concerts are live stream, and it's $15 per live stream, and we're not keeping them past the live stream, so it really is like a live event.
There you go. You'll see the website. That's where you can go to find out more about this year's Southeastern Piano Festival and Arthur Fraser competition. And hope to see all of you at our concert on June 12th as well. Joe and Marina, I'm looking forward to catching up with you in person in a few days here. Last time we saw each other was in November, and that was when we had the sort of you had to kind of make a adjusted version of 2020 competition and festival. So it was for the final round of the 2020 Fraser competition took place in Colombia, and so that's when we saw each other face to face. And
that's right.
But it's always great to make music with you and work with you on this. So looking so much forward to this.
Us too.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Morihiko.